Hello everyone and welcome back to another Python video. In this video I'm going to be talking about for loops in Python. So unfortunately I already talked and recorded this video, but there was some problem with the audio, so I'm redoing it now. So that's why the code is already ready. But without further ado, let's get started. So a for loop. A for loop is a statement that will execute its block of code for a limited amount of times, and that's basically the only difference between a while loop and a for loop. A while loop is unlimited, whereas a for loop is limited. So here we have the first example. For I in range 10, we want to print I plus 1. So the range is, as you can see, it's kind of like the limit, right? So for I, it doesn't have to be I, it could be like any letter or name or whatever, but I is just the preferred letter that most people use. So for I in range 10, print I plus 1. So as you can see, it starts off as at 1 all the way up till 10. 10 is the range, so once it hits 10, it's gonna stop. And then I starts off at 0 and it adds 1. So 0 plus 1 is 1, so it prints 1. And then it becomes 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2, so it prints 2, and so on and so forth. So let me turn this into a comment and let's move on to the next example. For I in range 50, comma 100 plus 1, comma 2, print I. So can you guess what this code does? Pause the video and guess, maybe think about it a little bit. Basically, this code means it's going to start off at 50 and it's going to end at 100 plus 1, and then it's going to increment by 2, and then it's going to print I. I is whatever it is in the range. So it's going to start off at 50, that's the beginning of the range, and the end of the range is 100 plus 1, so 101. If you change it to 100 only, it won't print the 100, so you have to put 101 or 100 plus 1. And then 2 is how much it's going to increment by. So if you change it to, say, 4, it's going to increment by 4. 50, 54, 58, 62. And if you change it to 1, same thing, it's going to increment by 1s, as you can see. But we want it to increment by 2s, so that's it right there. So for the next example, let me turn this into a comment and uncomment this. For I in Yusuf, which is my name, by the way, we're going to print I. So can you guess what this does? If you guessed it's going to print from 1 to 6 because it's 6 letters, you're wrong. It's a string, so it's going to print each character in the string. Y-O-U-S-E-F. So it's going to print Y. It's going to go through like the string, so Y, and then it's going to print it. And then it's going to go again. O, print. U, print. S, print, and so on and so forth. So for the last, and definitely not least, example, this is the most complicated one, but it's very easy, so don't be scared. Just bear with me. First of all, you're going to need the import, which is time. So after you import that, we start with for, and here, again, this is just the name. You can change it to I if you want. It works the same, but I just like to keep it as seconds just to make it easier on my brain, right? So for I in range 10, comma 0, comma minus 1. So it's the same logic as right here. Gonna start off at 10. The beginning, the first number is what it starts with. So 10, from 10 to 0, and we're gonna decrement by 1. And then it's gonna print seconds, and then time.sleep. Sleep is basically just a method of this library, time. It's just a method that pauses the program. It basically delays, as you can see, delay execution for a given number of seconds. So 1 means 1 second, 10 means 10 seconds, 100 seconds, 1,000 seconds, but we want it to sleep for 1 second. And as you can, if you pay attention to the indentation, this is indented and this is indented, and that means it's part of this for loop. This right here is not indented, so it's only going to execute after the for loop is finished, not before and not during. So once this gets to 0, this is when this will execute. So let's run it. And as you can see, it starts off at 10, 9, 8, 7, and it keeps going. And then when it goes to 0, that's when it ends, and then it tells you to like and subscribe. So please do that. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more Python and computer science videos.